This is the Brave Ideas Podcast, brought to you by Aqua. Welcome to episode 26 of the Brave Ideas Podcast, the show that is all about bringing to light fresh perspectives from the worlds of digital and marketing. I'm Dan Herman. I'm a digital strategist. I'm an avowed Batman v Superman hater. And today, I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Esther McGeer. I'm head of conversation analytics at Aqua and the official brand advocate of the Republic of South Africa since 1986.
Today, we're thrilled to have Debbi Scholtz with us, the executive assistant to the chairman of the Aqua Group, as well as the executive head of client service. Debbi is a rebel who loves yoga and Pilates by the sea and adores her Minecraft streaming watching son. And today, she's going to talk to us about leadership. Debbi, what's new?
Hi, Dan and Esther. I'm here to discuss the perception of leaders being unreachable and how to tap into making sure and finding out that they're actually human and you can talk to them. And
we're very excited to talk about it because I think it's a really important topic that will help a lot of people to work out how they can navigate their ways in their careers. So I'd be quite interested to understand and just unpack a bit further around how do you feel leaders are perceived by people in an organization?
I think they are up there in that white castle, glass tower, whatever you want to call it. People feel they can't reach them, but they actually can. So one way would be to just come and talk to me or to the gatekeeper or the PA if you have a good relationship with them, which you should have because they should be approachable people, and you can get the mood or the vibe that's going on with the leader on that day and actually know that they're just human beings and they love talking to people that aren't all business all the time.
Why do you think it would be really important for the leader of an organization to invite people in or to want to speak to people in?
Because that's his heartbeat. That's the heartbeat of the business, the people. So if you want to talk to the people, you've got to talk to the people.
Sure.
You know, and make them feel like you're approachable, which is hard as well for a leader, but, you know, there are ways.
But we know it's not always practical,
no,
right?
It's not always practical.
So advertising, specifically as an example, is a very high-pressure industry. There are dependencies upwards of clients who have huge money invested in a business. There are dependencies downwards towards people who need to have jobs and need to sustain that. And, you know, that can result in a lot of pressure on a leader. It's not unrealistic to think that sometimes it's very difficult to talk to a leader and you've got to choose your moment.
That's it.
So can we talk about what is the best moment to talk to someone?
Okay, so choosing your moment is quite easy because it's pretty standard here. Like, unless there's a pitch or something going on Friday afternoon, or when Brent's in the office anytime after 3-4.
I just want to point out that there was a mimicking of drinking. I don't know what that relates to.
When the drinking starts. At the end of the day. And most days, I'd say. And especially and Fridays. Yeah. So
timing is really important, but it's not simply about the time of day, right? No. It's also about the mood.
Yeah, the time of day and the mood.
And I think that what you've developed a particular skill at is reading mood.
Yes.
So how do you read mood of leaders?
Body language, energy that's coming off them, it's easy. Just a walk, a look, a step, and not being greeted is a mood. Like if I say good morning to somebody and they're like, I'll go, okay, try again tomorrow. Yeah, fine, thanks, and you. But if somebody's frazzled, obviously if the leader's looking frazzled and walking fast and the heart rate is up, not a time to approach them and say, I'd like a promotion.
But how should I read that? Yeah. Because if I'm hypothetically walking past the leader and I greet them and they don't greet me back, what am I meant to think?
You can't take it personally. You're meant to think his mind is on a lot of things. His or her mind is on a lot of things, and there's a lot going on here. And sometimes people shut off to keep their focus. And it's not about you. It's not that they're being rude and they don't want to greet you.
What are some of those a lot of things that a leader could be going through?
A pitch, personal life, growth in the agency, things happening fast, other businesses, other aspects of the other businesses. Yeah, day-to-day stuff, so much going on. A lot of emails, a lot of things he's got to address that I can't do. You know, a lot of stuff you've got to do. You can't expect the PA or whatever, the assistant, to do everything.
A lot of decision-making.
A lot of decisions, a lot of decisions. A lot of people needing a chunk of him for decisions, for meetings, a lot. I mean, I just think about it, I get a bit exhausted. So
no, exactly.
They're physically doing that. We're just thinking and talking.
Exactly. Like you experience it in your career. You know, we're fortunate to work in a large organization. So we have strategists who do strategy, we have creatives who do creatives, we have client service people who do client service, we have analysts who do analytics. And as you climb up an organization, you have to become able to consider all of those different aspects. So as a CEO or an executive head of a department, you have to understand, and you are responsible for the sum total of strategy, creative, insights,
and clients,
media,
and
client service.
clients.
Exactly. So I totally understand. Like, it can be completely overwhelming.
Yeah.
And just want to throw it back to you, Deb, because you've been in this game for a while. You've experienced and worked with leaders who have been overwhelmed. What do you do when one of your leaders feels overwhelmed?
I just remain calm and tap into their human side. You know, they're human. They need a cup of tea, coffee, a glass of milk and a cookie, a whiskey. You know, whatever I've said before, is can I get anything for you? Let me know. I'll go and get it. Lunch.
So really refreshment.
Yeah, feed them and water them.
But can I ask you, but does it take a PA to be nice to a leader?
Yeah, it does, because you know what, you get some PAs, you really do, who are, like, they think they're the leader. Like, actually, I'm running the show here, I'm better than you, I'm the top dog, I'm employed by the chairman, so I'm quite important and I'm unreachable. You've got to be nice, you've got to be kind, you've got to work from the heart.
I totally agree with you. It's really important that if you're a gatekeeper, you're accessible, right?
Yeah.
You're approachable because you are the gatekeeper, and you're responsible in a lot of ways for putting out the positive face of the leader. But what I was really trying to get to was this idea around what can people do to be nice to their leader? Like, what can other people do? What can I do? What can Esther do? Is it specifically the domain of the personal assistant to nurture leaders, or is that something that could be extended to others in a non-creepy way?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you could, yeah.
With boundaries, in other words.
With boundaries, you've got to get your filter in place. How?
I mean, I think that we've spoken a lot about sensitivity,
Yeah,
right?
sensitivity.
And people being sensitive to the fact that leaders are in fact humans, being empathetic. So I think that's one thing. Probably it's a ridiculous question to ask, but I mean, maybe it's also about understanding that your first instinct shouldn't be to be disdainful of your leader.
No.
The first instinct should be to be sensitive and sympathetic to where they're coming from.
Yes, I agree. Sensitivity, empathy, compassion, all of those go a long way. So even if he feels like a ice cold steel person, those things are icebreakers. Everybody somehow, if they haven't got it in them to have a bit of, let you give them compassion, sensitivity, or empathy, then they don't have a heart. And I mean, we all have a heart. So,
like what? Just
and brave. You've got to be quite brave. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, our leaders are quite approachable, but I'm thinking in like organizations I've worked for, they really are up on a pedestal there, and you can't approach them.
Yeah.
And I'd be scared to. So you've just got to be yourself. I think
Yeah.
be yourself and be
human.
Be
towards
human.
a human.
Be human to your human.
But also, like, it's really simple, actually, in my experience, like, because I also had that insecurity, right? I was also quite insecure about talking to an MD or a CEO of a business and engaging with them as a human being, because, you know, you imagine that these people are really, as you say, on a pedestal and are way too busy or way too important to engage with you. And I started to do something small. I just started to greet them.
Yeah.
I can make an effort to greet them, or make an effort to smile at them.
You smile.
Or to say, how are you? You know, and like, it makes such a massive difference because you recognize in yourself that these are people that you can talk to like other people, but also it breaks ice, and it also positions you in the eyes of your leader as someone who's willing to be nice.
And also they kind of put their guard up a bit because they know that they're perceived at this person at a distance. But as soon as you just still have respect, obviously, but treat them just like you would your fellow colleagues, you know, in greeting and just respect and empathy, and then they'll remember you maybe, or it'll just not be so awkward.
Absolutely.
Because that actually distances like a leader anyway, just thinking, oh, like I'm this person, so, you know, not everybody's going to talk to me. So that you need to break the ice all the time. Smile. A smile and a greeting. Can't go wrong. A cup of tea.
That's so true. Just breaking that awkward feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're a human being and you know that you're perceived in a certain way, so it's already awkward for you from the start.
Yeah.
Just to have that natural interaction is actually such a relief.
Yeah.
But I know, Esther, you never feel awkward, hey?
No.
You're just like gung-ho, guns blazing, hey?
I never ever feel awkward, but I very much respect Debbi as the gatekeeper, which has actually, in my experience, been great in this organization with having someone like Debbi who just understands the leader and also the heart of it so well. It's just, you can always rely on Debbi to give you the exact feedback about how to handle the situation. Do you know what I I mean? So, for instance, just the word of, today is a pitch day, it's quite intense,
Or just
hearts
like
are
not
racing.
now.
Yeah.
Like, can I go into the door?
Make it a
No,
little
I
while.
wouldn't.
Or to remind us that, what, Brent has actually said that he'd really like you to come into his office. So, yes, Esther, let's schedule that meeting today,
And can I ask you something? What happens when someone doesn't check with you?
No, then it's generally okay because I'm not there to watch every move.
Yes.
I mean, I'm there for the important meetings and if somebody can't get him. But there are times when he's not always in his office as well, or Shaylee's not in her office. They're not going to bite your head off.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes they also don't say no, now's not a good time.
Yeah.
They often don't say no. People find it hard to say no, even in leadership positions. So I would just be saying, you know what, maybe not right now. Just to like I know he's closed his door, he hasn't got the do not disturb sign on, but I know from talking to him earlier, maybe not a good day. It also depends what you want to talk about, but come back and...
I also think that's a really interesting point, sorry, just to pick up on it, is that they don't have time.
Yeah.
Time is a leader's most precious commodity, right? And wasting a leader's time with banter at the wrong time
is a big no-no.
is a bad idea, right? Because they'll just get frustrated with you. And those kinds of being insensitive, that can have a negative impact on your perception in the eyes of a leader as well as the world. Do you agree with that,
I
Des?
do agree. I just think that you've got to keep trying, though. The next day could be different.
Yeah.
I can be in one mood on a one day just from something that's happened to me in traffic or whatever. It should be cancelled out quite quickly, or the next day is better. Generally, my leaders, they forget and they bounce back a new person the next day.
That's why I think it might be important to go to the mediator, to go to a Debbi,
and the
to go to the gatekeeper.
I want to be that
the negotiator.
I like the negotiator and the mediator and the rebel
just
DJ.
To understand.
The rebel DJ. So, Debs, I think this has been a really interesting conversation.
Thank
and
you.
I'd just like to ask you a final question, which is, if there was one thing you could take out of this conversation for Aqua as well as the broader industry, what would that be?
Just not to forget and to remember that we're all human and we all have our hearts. And it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. Whoever your leader is still a person, a human just like you, with generally often a better heart than you think.
That's a lovely message.
So, Debbi, if there's anyone that's listening that would love to just get in contact with you, maybe there are people in the same position as you who would like to understand or discuss with someone a little bit about being that gatekeeper, that mediator, where would they be able to get hold of you?
On email, Debbi, DEBBIS, @aquaonline.com.
Thanks, Debbi, and thank you for listening to the Brave Ideas podcast. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or YouTube, and while you're there, give us a rating and a review.
For more awesome content, please visit the Brave Ideas blog, which you can find at aquaonline.com/Brave Ideas podcast. Also, if you'd like to get involved in the conversation, and please follow us at Aqua Brave Ideas on Twitter or Brave Ideas Podcast on Instagram.
If you want to keep in touch with me, you can connect with me at Elhermo, ELHERMO on Twitter, and Elhermo23 on Snapchat and Instagram. And you can get in touch with Esther.
You can email me at esther.mcgear@live.com.
Special thank you to Debbi Scholtz, our guest. Thank you to Matthew Plavansky for music and production. Thanks to Johan Buerta and Eras Khoos for the art direction. And thank you to our distribution team, Magesh Ramsamy, Kirsten Wiggle, Helen Seymenis, Sisana Kumalo, and Sabelo Kanyile.
That brings us to the end of the show. We'll leave you with one final thought. There are no original ideas, only original people.